Hello everyone, my name is Asaya. The problem my group and I will be presenting today is underage smoking. The problem of dependence on the use of tobacco blends always has been relevant. Various discussions regarding the topic of smoking have not subsided for many years. But the topic of underage smoking is gaining even more momentum because for how many years this problem has not only been removed, but unfortunately it is gaining momentum. Just think about it, if it was your family member, because teenage smoking does not magically appear. It has a specific ground, mainly related to the family. Statistics say that 5.6 million Americans under the age of 18 will die early from smoking-related illnesses. That is roughly 1 in every 13 Americans living today, age 17 and under. First, we will talk about the problem. Next, we will speak about who has been affected by the problem and what has already been done to try and solve it. Finally, we will suggest a solution. Smoking has been around for many years. Smoking can be dated back to as early as 5000 BC and has been recorded in many different cultures across the world. In the world we live in today, the term of smoking is known by many, and there are many that perform the action of smoking. Among those people are many underage smokers. Underage smoking has become more relevant as the years go on. Many minors are exposed to different outlets of smoking. Tobacco smoking typically begins around from 11 to 13 years, although many youths even start earlier. There is no exact date or data that can go back and state exactly when underage smoking began. The risk of underage smoking has been present since smoking came to be. According to the CDC, in 2016, roughly 2% of middle school students and 8% of high school students reported smoking cigarettes in the past 30 days. Among high school students in 2016, 11.3% said that they had smoked an e-cigarette within the last month. For e-cigarettes, the number of American middle and high school students who regularly used electronic cigarettes tripled between 2013 and 2014. Among adolescents, smoking increased with the age. 2.5% of middle schoolers who smoke cigarettes and the 3.9% who smoke e-cigarettes. With this study, we were able to see just how common smoking is among those in middle school and high school. At a young age, they are being exposed to all the negative effects smoking brings to them. We have heard many studies, just like the one above, that have surfaced the internet and news to this day. Underage smoking isn't something that should be taken lightly, and with the effects it has on kids, it is more than enough to be justified as wrong. Just like the research stated above, there are many other studies that will display the truths of underage smoking. To stop a problem like this, it is going to take time and effort. There is not one perfect solution to such a big issue like underage smoking. Finding a solution to this is kind of like trial and error, because there will be things that work for some people and do not work for others. There are times where underage smoking is either at an all-time high or all-time low. For example, with the discovery of the detrimental health effects of tobacco use with subsequent public health education and legislation to reduce consumption, the number of smokers in the United States has steadily declined through the first part of the 21st century. The number of regular smokers stalled in 2005 and has remained stable since 2007. Many attempts to control or end underage smoking have been taken, from raising the legal age to buy tobacco and vapor products to 21, efforts to make public places smoke-free, and many other things.
Research has shown that the main reason of underage smoking in children is the influence of peers and parents. Moreover, if the person has easy access to cigarettes in his or her childhood, he or she is more likely to smoke in future. By taking this research, they developed and implemented a program. Their program is called Our Right Decisions Right Now, and it began in 1991 as an in-school program. They provided retailers throughout the country with more than 300,000 free training kits and in-store signage. Young people entering early adolescence face a lot of choices that can affect the rest of their life, and they should be careful to not do something that would affect the rest of their life badly. American children start learning about the health risks associated with smoking from the first day they go to school. But this is not enough because some of them still continue to smoke even they are told about the bad effects of smoking. Often the reason of their starting to smoke is their family or friends. Reynolds' Right Decisions Right Now program helps youth people in that situation to take a right decision. They distribute their program free, and in school curriculum program are sold more than 10,000 schools nationwide, and more than 3.5 million school children could achieve them. They use teenage role model to help to deliver their message in student-focused pamphlets. They believe that we can overcome this problem by working together with parents, schools, and retailers. It starts by helping our children to make the right decisions.
A bad example is known to be contagious. Children tend to obey smokers as well as peer pressure. Also, the media and general curiosity about the effect of cigarettes can influence on the child's mind and decisions. Some studies have shown that smoking starts when child sees this action in the movie, which is 2.6 times more than children who saw it less in the movie. Also, a bad situation in family, low social and economic level, affordable prices for cigarettes, poor studies, and low self-esteem are reasons for starting smoking. Also, according to the result of another study, it showed that in 2015, 9.3% of high school students reported smoking cigarettes in the past 30 days, down 74% from the 36.4% in 1997, when the rate picked up after rising in the first half of the 1990s. Since the problem is constantly heard, it was analyzed in detail and had some attempts for resolution. It is noticeable that as a child grows up, his psyche becomes stronger, and with the transition from primary to secondary school, the possibility of resistant peer pressure opens. It has been proven that 8 out of 10 adults who use tobacco products every day started their journey at age of 18, and 99% tried for the first time by age of 25. A July 2013 study in the Journal of Adolescent Health found that peer influence on cigarette smoking was greatest in the middle school years. In 2019, about 12 out of every 100 high school students, which is 12.5%, and about 31 out of every 100 high school students, which is 31.2%, reported they are currently use tobacco. Among high school students in 2015, the most common forms of tobacco were e-cigarettes, which is 16%, regular cigarettes, which is 9.3%, cigars, which is 8.6%, and hookah, which is 7.2%.
Who does underage smoking affect? Well, this answer might seem obvious, but it goes much deeper than you might think. Let me provide a scenario for you. Imagine a teenager, say a 12th grader, and they have been smoking marijuana, which unfortunately is not very difficult to imagine. According to a study in 2015 by the University of Michigan, students from the 8th, 10th, and 12th grades were asked about whether they had tried marijuana, and the results were very disturbing. 15.5% of 8th graders, 31.1% of 10th graders and 44.7% of the 12th graders they asked if they had smoked marijuana answered yes. And Michigan hadn't even legalized marijuana yet. So anyway, back to the scenario. This 12th grader, let's call him Jesse. Anyway, Jesse, who has been smoking for the past hour, decides to go get some food. He's driving along the road and he immediately feels the effects of marijuana, including lowered reaction time and slower mental capacity. He takes a right-hand turn, but he misjudges the angle of his turn, driving into another oncoming vehicle and causes a crash. Now, who is immediately affected by this crash? Well, the first people affected are the people in the crash, the officers dispatched to respond to the crash, as well as the countless individuals that now have to detour around the crash to get to their destination as a result of this accident. The second people affected are the family members of the people that were inside of the crash, as well as the state legislation and other legal officers. So as you can see, this one single circumstance affected many, many different individuals from this one circumstance. What negative consequences is underage smoking causing? A study from 2008 to 2012 found that heavy use of marijuana in teens has risen the years the study was conducted. Heavy marijuana use is defined as using marijuana more than 20 times in the past month. High school use of marijuana was up 47% from 2008 to 2011, equaling about 8 million teens. This was an incredibly depressing statistic for me to read because I had no idea so many young people were using this drug. The complications that also come along with this drug are very disturbing as well. According to a 3-year-long study by the Partnership Attitude Tracking Study, or PATS, marijuana is a gateway drug, meaning that abusing marijuana can lead to other substance abuse later down the road in your life. The PATS study indicated that heavy users of marijuana are 30 times more likely to use cocaine or crack cocaine, are 20 times more likely to use ecstasy, are 15 times more likely to abuse prescription pain relievers, and 14 times more likely to abuse over-the-counter medicines. All these drugs have the ability to be so much more destructive than just marijuana and can take over teens and adults' lives. It's so heartbreaking that these teens are opening themselves to these risks. We cannot let this continue to happen.
I found another perspective in other source. In the source, it talks about Bob Dole and his opinion about smoking. Apparently, his thought is that smoking is not that bad as we know, and youth people can decide themselves whether they should smoke or not. But on the contrary, Democrats didn't agree with this idea. In their opinion, smoking is very harmful, and advertisements play big role in encouraging smoking. They said that advertisements about smoking, tobacco, etc. affect young people badly. Erickson, who declared that assurances of voluntary compliance are promising regulatory mechanism to fight against underage tobacco sales. But the findings cause some concerns. ABCs are formal agreements which have violated consumer protection laws. There is a program called V-Card, and it's the most known tobacco industry youth smoking prevention program in the United States. They have two primary purposes: to improve the tobacco industry's image and to reduce regulation and enforcement of existing laws. To reduce tobacco use, there are different beliefs, and one of them is e-cigarettes as a pathway to reducing tobacco use. But there are also some people who characterize them as dangerous products that could undermine efforts to renormalize smoking. In their opinion, e-cigarettes are not an effective way to reduce smoking. Also, having studied the problem, we offer our solution to the problem.
A solution to help fix the problem of underage smoking would be to raise the smoking age to 21 in all countries where smoking ages are 18 or younger. Shannon Doyne, a journalist for New York Times, states that the biggest reason to raise the legal age to 21 is to reduce young people's access to tobacco when they are more likely to become addicted and when their brains are still developing. In addition to this, making the majority of public places smoke-free and increasing taxes on tobacco, nicotine, and cannabis products would help to lessen underage smoking. Michael J. Broyd, professor at the Emory School of Law, in an article by New York Times called Raising the Smoking Age to 21, states that in 1988, California voters approved Proposition 99, which increased state cigarette taxes and earmarked funds for health education to deter tobacco use. From 1988 to 2010, California's smoking rate decreased from 22.7% to 11.9%. Another article from U.S. Newswire revealed the effects of smoke-free laws. In this article, Matthew L. Myers, CEO of the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, states, a new study found that heart attack rates in Pueblo, Colorado declined by nearly 30% after the city implemented a comprehensive smoke-free workplace law, including restaurants and bars. These solutions are practical because they put legal restrictions on minors trying to gain access to these products without making any sacrifices. To be able to put these legal restrictions into action, other countries must undergo the legislative process in order for bills to be passed to raise smoking ages to 21, increase tax prices on tobacco, nicotine, and cannabis products, and to make government-owned buildings and public places smoke-free. So, the main stakeholders to these solutions would be national congresses, as they hold total legislative power. An example of this can be seen in December of 2019 when President Donald Trump passed the law to raise the smoking age nationwide. Sheila Kaplan, a reporter for New York Times, states that the House and Senate have now passed a provision that would ban the sale of tobacco and e-cigarettes to anyone under 21. In addition to raising the smoking age to 21, Trump administration officials claim to be making efforts to ban flavored vape products. Alex M. Azar, U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, states, by prioritizing enforcement against the products that are most widely used by children, our action today seeks to strike the right public health balance by maintaining e-cigarettes as a potential off-ramp for adults using cigarettes while ensuring these products don't provide an on-ramp to nicotine addiction. Underage smoking is a big problem in the United States. Statistics show that the main contingent is schoolchildren with a family of psychological problems. Our task is to explain the problem, look from all sides, weigh the pros and the cons, and try a constructive solution. Underage smoking has a difficult psychological soil that begins with the family. To end this speech, I want to leave you all with a famous quote made by Matthew Gray Gubler. I found out that smoking is the leading cause of statistics. Thank you.